really happening. Jesus on my podcast. How are you, brother?
I'm great, John. Thanks for asking. Excited to be here.
So first of all, thank you for doing this. Seriously. Let alone the thought of having Jesus himself right in front of me is, it's so crazy. Luckily, we got all of it on video. All right, let's dive straight in. I know you're a busy guy. I just want to start really simple. What does a normal day look like for you? Morning to night, I want to hear everything.
Thanks for having me, John. I appreciate you coming here. Well, yeah, I wake up early, very early, before the sun usually. I know that sounds rough, but I actually love it. It's the quietest part of the day. The whole village is still sleeping. The animals are quiet. There's no noise. And the first thing I do is pray. Every morning. No exception. The Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. It's the most important prayer we have. You say it when you wake up, and you say it before you sleep. Then I wash my hands, my face, and that's the start of it. After that, it's breakfast, which is not much, honestly. A piece of bread, some olives, if we have them, and maybe a few figs. Then you're out the door. That's the morning. Not just mine, really, for most people around here.
See, what I find interesting is how structured that is. Like where I come from, people just kind of roll out of bed, grab whatever's in the fridge, check their, well, you wouldn't know what that is, which is probably for the better. But the point is, there's no routine, no ritual, at least for a lot of people. You, on the other hand, you wake up and you pray first, before eating, before anything. My mornings are always different, to be honest. Kind of the opposite from what's going on in yours. Before I forget to ask, that prayer you just said, the Shema, it sounded different, older somehow. Is that Hebrew? Because I've heard that day to day, you actually speak something else entirely.
Yeah, good question, John. So, the prayer is in Hebrew. That's the holy language, the language of our scriptures. But day to day, we speak Aramaic. That's what everyone speaks around here. My family, the village, the guys I work with, all Aramaic. And apparently, we've got an accent. People from Jerusalem think we sound a bit rough, a bit uneducated. They can always tell you're from Galilee the moment you open your mouth. And then there's Greek. I know some, because you need it for trade. If you're working in Sepphoris, dealing with merchants or Roman officials, you need at least a little. So, yeah, 3 languages, more or less. How many do you speak, John?
Honestly, 1. Maybe 1.5 on a good day. 2 when I've had a drink. But man, 3 languages, and you do all that by hand. That's humbling. It really is. And we've got it so much easier these days. But okay, you mentioned breakfast, bread and olives. I gotta ask about the food because I feel like people have no idea what you actually eat day to day. Me included. Tell me about it.
Okay, so, bread. The answer to almost every food question is, it's bread. Breakfast is bread. Lunch is bread. Dinner is bread with lentils or olive oil, or, on a really good day, some fish. My mother makes this lentil stew that is genuinely one of the best things I've ever tasted. So good. She puts garlic in it, some herbs, and we just tear off pieces of bread and dip it in. That's a good dinner. Most days it's simpler than that, though. And you have to understand, John, we grow what we can. Lentils, chickpeas, onions, garlic, figs, and olives from the trees. There's no market where you walk in and pick from 50 things. You eat what the land gives you that season. During Passover, there's lamb, and that's a real celebration. Everyone looks forward to it, but that's once a year. Meat's not something ordinary people eat. That's for the wealthy. For people like us, it's bread. And honestly, you learn not to think about it too much.
That's so wild to me. Because where I come from, People have so much choice that they actually get stressed out about what to eat, like genuinely anxious about it. And here you are, bread every day, maybe some lentils, and you seem completely fine with it. I love that. I think there's something to that, honestly. But okay, let's talk about work, because this is where it gets interesting. Everyone, and I mean everyone, calls you a carpenter. Is that actually accurate? Because I've got a feeling it's not.
Not exactly. The word is tekton. It means builder. And yea, I do some woodwork, doors, roof beams, yokes for plows, that kind of thing. But honestly, most of the work is stone. Nazareth is built from stone. I cut it, I shape it, I fit it together. It's precise work. You measure everything carefully, because once you cut stone wrong, that's it. You can't undo it. And I don't just work in the village. About an hour's walk from Nazareth, there's a city, Sepphoris, maybe 30,000 people, a real city. They're always building something there. Theaters, big houses, these Roman-style buildings. So a lot of us walk over for work. You leave before sunrise, work all day, walk back in the evening. It's tiring, but the work is there, and it pays. And actually, the walk isn't bad. You go with the other men. You talk about your families, complain about the foreman, and by the time you get there, the sun's coming up over the valley. It's actually quite beautiful.
Okay, hold on. I need to unpack a few things here. First of all, stonemason, not carpenter. See, I knew it. That's one of the most famous things about you, and it's not even accurate. People are going to lose their minds. And second, you're commuting an hour each way on foot in sandals. That's a 2-hour commute every single day. People where I'm from complain about that in an air-conditioned car. And third, Sepphoris, 30,000 people right next to Nazareth. So how big is Nazareth?
Yeah, so Nazareth is small, maybe 400 people, maybe less, a few dozen families. It's nothing compared to Sepphoris, but it's home. And the thing about a village that small is everyone knows everything. You know who's fighting with their neighbor, you know who had a baby, you know whose goat got out again, and whose goat gets out every week, by the way. There are no secrets. You do something foolish on Monday, and the whole village knows by Tuesday morning. My mother, she walks to the spring every morning for water, and that's where the women talk. That is the real information center of Nazareth. Forget the synagogue, forget the elders. If you want to know what's really going on, you go to the well. I've learned more standing near that well than just about anywhere else. You'd be amazed. Does your world have something like that, John? Someplace where everyone just talks?
Oh, man. Yeah, we do, actually. We've got this thing called social media. It's kind of like your well, but way worse. Way worse. Everyone talks. Everyone knows everything. But you don't even have to leave your house. You just sit there, and the gossip comes to you. Honestly, the well sounds healthier. At least you're outside. You're getting water. You're face to face with people. We should probably go back to the well system. But anyway, let's talk about what happens when you're not working. What does Sabbath look like?
Oh, Sabbath is the best day. Honestly, it's what you work toward all week. It starts Friday evening. My mother lights the oil lamps, and the whole feeling of the house just changes. Everything slows down. You wash up, you put on your cleanest clothes, and then we have the best meal of the week. Whatever she's been saving, that's when it comes out. Maybe some fish, better bread, extra oil. And then Saturday, no work, none. You don't lift a tool. You don't carry anything heavy. You go to the synagogue in the morning, someone reads from the scriptures, there's prayer, there's teaching, discussion, and then you just rest. You spend time with your family. You walk. You sit. I think people underestimate how important that is. 6 days, you work until your body aches, and then one day, is just for being, not doing, just being.
That's beautiful, honestly. The idea that rest is built into the week, not something you have to fight for or feel guilty about. We've kind of lost that. But here's something I'm curious about. You're living under Roman occupation. You're paying taxes to an empire you didn't choose. How does that affect daily life? Do you actually feel it?
Yeah, you feel it. You don't always see it in Nazareth. We're too small for the Romans to bother with directly. But you feel it in your pocket. There's the temple tax. Every Jewish man pays that. And then there's the Roman tax on top of it. And that one hurts, because it goes to people who are not your people. And the men who collect it, the tax collectors, they're Jewish men working for Rome, taking money from their own neighbors. People hate them. They're not welcome in the synagogue. They're not welcome at most tables. It's complicated, though, because some of them are just trying to survive too, you know? But when you've worked all day cutting stone, and a piece of what you earned goes to Rome, yeah, you feel that.
That's heavy. Working that hard and knowing a cut of it goes straight to an occupying empire. I get why that breeds resentment. But okay, let's lighten it back up. Long day, you've walked back from Sepphoris, sun's going down. What does the evening actually look like?
Well, you come home. You wash. That's important. You wash before you pray and before you eat. Then it's time for the evening prayer, like mentioned earlier. And then you sit down with your family. My mother, my brothers, my sisters, everyone around one table. The food is simple, but the table is full. And it's the best part of the day, honestly. Everyone's talking about what happened, who said what went wrong at the work site. My younger brother's asking questions about everything. It's loud. It's always loud. And then, especially in summer, you go up to the roof. Because the house is stone, one room, maybe two, and in summer the heat just stays in the walls. It's like sleeping inside an oven. So everyone takes their mat up to the roof, and you sleep under the stars. And John, the stars. You see everything. There's nothing blocking it. The whole sky just moves above you while you fall asleep. When I was young, I'd lie there for hours, just looking, wondering who put all of that up there, what it means. I still do that, honestly.
See, that image is going to stick with me. Because most people where I come from have never seen a sky like that. There's so much light everywhere that on a clear night, you maybe see a handful of stars. The idea of lying on a rooftop, seeing the entire sky, I think most people would find that life-changing, honestly. And for you, it's just your Tuesday night. There's something really beautiful about that. And actually, it connects to something I've been noticing this whole conversation. Your life it's physically hard. The food is basic, the work is brutal, you're paying taxes to an empire. But the way you talk about all of it, you don't sound like someone who's suffering at all.
Why would I be? I have bread to eat. I have work for my hands. I have my family around the table every evening, and the stars above me every night. People make the mistake of thinking that having more will make them more at peace, that if they just get this one more thing, then they'll finally be happy. But in my experience, it's the opposite. The more you carry, the heavier you walk, and the less you carry, the lighter you walk. I'm not a wealthy man. I never will be. But when I sit on that roof at night, with my family sleeping around me, and I look up at that sky, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Not a single thing.
The less you carry, the lighter you walk. That's going to stay with me for a long time. Honestly, brother, I think that's a wrap. And I got to say, this was something else. I came in here thinking I'd learn what you have for breakfast, and I'm walking away with a whole new way of looking at my own life. So, thank you, really. But listen, I'd love to do this again sometime, because we barely scratched the surface today, you know? We kept it to the everyday stuff, and there's still so much I want to ask you. What you were like as a kid, what your brothers are actually like, the places you've seen, the people you've met on the road. I've got 100 more questions. Only if you're up for it, of course, and if you can ever find the time.
I'd like that, John, genuinely. You ask good questions, better than most, I think, and I enjoyed this. It's not often someone wants to hear about the bread and the walking and the ordinary days. Most people only ask about the big things. So, any time, you're always welcome. And I wish you nothing but peace, my friend. Truly.
Same to you, brother. Same to you. All right. I should let you go before that sun drops and you've still got the whole walk back. Thank you, Jesus, for all of it.